Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
Hello, Outriders, and welcome to episode 145 of the Legion Outriders podcast, the longest-running podcast devoted to Star Wars and Star Wars Legion. I'm Outrider Matt, and today, as always, Outrider Dan. How you doing, bud?
Longest continuously running, because there's been a few, like, we haven't had a Critical X episode in forever. Although they've had
that's a good point.
Yeah.
You didn't hear the asterisks in my voice when I
Yes.
said that? Oh, okay. All right, because there was definitely one in there. But we got some things to talk about today on the show.
Yes, there were some points that might have been shattered.
I was going to do the shatter joke, but okay, that's fine. You set it up and then you swung it at yourself. My God. Okay. And then we've got our local hobby, and I've got some building been done despite craziness in my life. And then you got some gaming.
I got some game.
Some game. Sometimes that's all you can shoot for. But before we get started, we'd like to, of course, take a second to thank our patrons that make recording and publishing this show possible. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Legion Outriders. On today's show, all the news, all the things.
Every single one of the things.
What we have, exactly, I guess. We've, of course, got the general Star Wars news, and there's a couple of interesting items there for people that are so inclined. And then some actual Legion-specific news. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why don't you kick us off there, Mr. Daniel?
Well, before we get to a new game announcement, there's Studio Ghibli has announced that they're doing a collaboration with Lucasfilm for a little short. And it actually, as of recording, launched today, this morning.
Oh, it actually came out?
Yeah, it came out today.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's about 2 minutes long.
Oh, super short then.
Yeah,
okay.
It's super short, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But if you're a Ghibli fan, it's got all that charm and cuteness. And
Who isn't a Ghibli fan? Show me somebody that isn't a Ghibli fan, and I will point to you a monster.
No one in this room. So
okay, all right, good. I was looking real hard at Dan right there. No, he already said it's super cute because that's what Grogu, Ghibli.
Oh yeah, and it's Grogu
cute.
in it.
Yeah.
So. No actual story or lore or anything in it, so that didn't tickle that side of me. But it's cute. 2
minutes. What you can do, right? Yeah. Was he gulping down sentient frog eggs?
No spoilers.
No, wow! It got dark.
But there was a new game announced.
Yeah,
it's called.
There was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the Star Wars deck building game was announced by FFG.
Didn't they do that already? Like a couple of times.
There was the LCG, and then there was the official card game of the Legion Outriders podcast, Destiny.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's how we met. Yeah. Yes. All those years ago.
Yeah, rolling.
I guess it has been a few years now.
Yeah.
But, oh man, Destiny.
I guess you're not playing a card game unless you're rolling dice. I guess
there was also a 2-player only version of the LCG, I think, or something like that. But they've done variations of this kind of game for a little bit now.
So it means
but obviously this is the big game announcement everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Worried about various things.
It's a deck building game. It's a couple little fun tweaks on deck builders. The closest game I can think of, just looking at what they've shown, is like Star Realms.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, I played a fair amount of Star Realms.
But it's obviously two factions, Rebel versus Empire. I think this is the first deck builder that I've ever aware of that actually had cards specific to each player, meaning there'll be stuff in the row that you can't buy because it's for the other faction that you're playing against.
This actually might be the first Star Wars deck builder, period.
Yeah, actually, I might have to search.
FFG, really, this is something I talked about years ago, back when I was still, affiliated with game stores and running and management and all that. Is FFG didn't have any deck builders, and those were so hot a couple of years back.
Yeah, back when Dominion was making the big huge splash and everyone was trying to copy that. So
we went to one of the trade shows, and I was talking to one of the reps, and I was like, why don't you guys have any deck builders? What's going on here? Because I like them. I think they're fun. They play fast usually, and and you scrap it and start over again. But yeah, this will be interesting to see what they do.
Because in addition to having faction-based cards in a row, you can attack the cards in the market road to deny them from your opponent. At least they were showing that off.
That's cute.
So that's an interesting little mechanic.
Yeah.
because it actually helps generate resources for you if you do it.
That sounds like a very rebel way to go.
Yeah. Well, of course, for the Empire side, they call it bounty hunting. And for the Rebel side, they call it sabotage. They actually have specific terms for attacking it. And the cards are laid out that you orient them towards the player that they're associated to. But then there's, at least, say I'm the Empire player, because, Empire.
Right.
There'll be upside down to me text on there that if you attack it, it tells you how many resources you get or how much it adjusts. And there's a light side, dark side meter as well.
Okay. A little tug of war
action on there. I found that funny that the little mat that they showed with the light and the dark side on it, that the Empire side is backgrounded in blue and the Rebel side is backgrounded in red. So you're going towards the light side, towards the red colored side.
That's not how that's supposed to be at all.
Which I know, commonly, look at the bases in Legion. I know Empire usually gets the quote unquote blue or gray aesthetic, and then the Rebels get the red aesthetic. But it's
red
funny
is
that
dark side. Yeah. What are they trying to say now?
That's funny that they made
the
it.
Empire did nothing wrong, Fantasy Flight? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, the Empire did do nothing wrong. The best subreddit on Reddit, by the way.
Of course you're on there.
But release for this game is, according to the press release, is going to be March 2023, which is the same month that Adepticon is in. So I'm assuming they'll have it at the Fantasy Flight booth.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be running demos and all that. Maybe other games too. I don't know. Maybe. So yeah. Was that it for general Star Wars?
That's
news?
with Andor in full swing, and oh my God, Andor
on program.
Spoilers.
No, it's not spoilers at this point. Dude, it's so good.
Oh yeah. So
we've got a group chat that, of course, we gush at each other about these kind of things. Like, has everybody seen it? And but despite declaring that I want to have Andy Serkis's baby,
again, spoiler that he was, because his casting was not announced officially.
That was weeks ago.
Yeah.
Weeks ago, and everybody knows that he's out there. Oh, anyways.
Yes, the whole Snoke backstory is getting interesting.
Hidalgo tweeted something about that. It was pretty funny. It was like, hey, that's a great so-and-so theory you got there. Where was I going with this? No, it's good. It's good.
Well,
and,
you were going to say what you were saying in the chat.
It's so interesting. I analyzed myself while I was watching the episode, and I was on the edge of my seat. That never happens to me in a Star Wars. Like, the good guys are probably going to be okay. I think Rogue One was the one that came the closest to like, oh, there's genuine suspense here. You know what's going on. Even though Cassian, spoiler, is in Rogue One. It was just really well done, and I just, hats off to how the pacing is done. And
oh yeah,
it's not just lightsabers and blasters firing everywhere.
Space battles and Star Wars has space for high fantasy, high action.
Yeah,
but the fact that they're grounding this and just putting this level of real, grittiness and realism into it,
fantastic,
so good.
And Skarsgård in there.
Skarsgård,
that speech in what was that, episode 10?
The last episode.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys are sitting on the fence on Andor and have the capability to watch it, it's a big recommend.
The hottest of takes, I think it is, last 2 episodes pending, gonna turn out to be a more beloved series than Mando.
Wow.
Yes. It's, in terms of quality, it's the highest Disney produced Star Wars
I
quality,
think
in my
definitely
opinion.
hits a more, because... we're in middle age. We're not like 9-year-olds. I think the demographic for what it is a much more solid piece of fiction. I love Mando, and I'll be, ride or die Mando forever. I will watch everything that ever comes out. But Andor makes me feel things.
Imagine the bar that would have been set if this was the first series out of the Mando.
That would be a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
It's funny because it sounds like everything... I didn't mean to turn this into the Andor podcast. But people are just saying the ratings are so bad for it, and I just don't understand.
It's not so much ratings, it's the Nielsen viewership kind of stuff, the amount of time, hours tuned in and watch times and things like that.
But I guess if you're sitting down to see, the High Republic kind of swinging around the stuff, it's going to be like, what is this? Instead of, your Blade Runner kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think just Star Wars TV has lost a lot of goodwill lately.
Really? Okay.
With some of the,
I love everything they've done always, forever.
And you're not just
I
saying
will
that
mindlessly consume forever. Anyways.
Oh, man. So, yeah, actual Legion stuff. I actually forgot if we mentioned this last episode. The Crashed X-Wing Battlefield expansion.
Hey.
And the Boba Fett Daimyo, which is what they're calling it for Old Man Boba, did land on the Asmodee store and have a release date of December 16th.
You sure it didn't crash onto the Asmodee store?
Yes, they crashed on... He's just a simple man trying to make his way in the Asmodee store. But
that's it, yeah. I'll buy that.
But they had the Crashed X-Wing on a painting stream.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, they wouldn't say much about what the pilot mini does or what the mission was or anything like that.
Yeah, it's going to be some
but a couple small little things. It is
Okay.
It is hard plastic.
Good.
Of the newer plastics, which makes
I
sense.
want everything to be in hard plastic
Yeah.
from now on. It would be really shocking if they, outside of like maybe a new core box or something, went back to the soft. Everything should be on sprues.
And underneath, it's completely hollow. Meaning, unlike the Crash ATSD, which how many of these have we seen that have been warped over time because the plastic is so thick and that solid bottom and it just warps? So hopefully the longevity on this will be a little bit better, other than the fact it's more brittle being hard plastic, but hopefully shouldn't warp as much or cause any issues laying flat on a table.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's crashed. I mean, having a couple extra bends in there, as long as it sits flat.
That's what I was
really,
saying. That's
yeah,
what the whole thing I'm meaning. It sits flat. So yeah, and of course I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We were at the game store yesterday.
Yes.
And I asked our friendly game store owner, I'm like, hey, can we start putting pre-orders in for the stuff? It's up on the Asmodee store. He's like, wait, when did they? Because they didn't notify him.
Oh, of course not. Yeah. That is still apparently a very rickety work in progress.
That's
when you have a customer direct kind of thing and you have a customer service team and direct shipping warehouse and all that, and then you fire them all and then you try to hire, start it up again. It's like there's going to be some hiccups. Anyways,
if your local game store out there is not as tuned to Legion as you and we are, definitely reach out to your game store and say, hey, can we put these on pre-order now? So yeah, I am in for the Boba Fett Daimyo, even though I play Empire, because of all the upgrades that will be in there.
Sorry.
So it's essentially the Boba Fett upgrade pack for me.
Oh, okay. I see.
With free model included.
Well, we got a prisoner.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I've got Daimyo on there. Old Man Boba. I know I double checked. I put Cody on there yesterday and another game that we have not yet talked about, but
oh wait, they're taking pre-orders for Cody.
They have a wish list basically.
Oh, okay, wish list. Okay.
Like, hey, when it becomes because we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
I'll have to go.
I know it's going to be in the summer, but
yeah,
just put me on the list.
So speaking of the Boba Fett upgrade kit, the last piece of information that we didn't have from the kit yet was his upgrade cards, and thanks to I actually couldn't tell where this originated from, but I found it on the Discord.
Okay.
Legion Discord, is his upgrade card has leaked because somebody got one out early and cracked it open. So it is
in Scandinavian or French?
Actually, I don't know where they came from because this is early for a leak anyway.
Yeah.
But it is, honestly, it's the exact same as Din's flamethrower equipment card. Just costs 5 points instead of 8.
Okay.
So for everyone who isn't aware, it's melee and range 1 red, blast, spray, suppressive, and it is a consumable that expends when you use it. So basically it gives you 2 flamethrower options with Boba now, because you can play the command card and then use this, so double flamer. This one trip
this one's twice as nice.
Yes.
Yeah, jeez.
One trick that B1s hate.
Yeah. So yes, and that leads us nicely into what we've been up to recently. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, we're getting ready to move back to California finally. We have just put our house up on the market here in Vegas, and it has been an absolute madhouse here the last couple of weeks trying to get things, patched up and semi-packed up, because we're going to be showing the house for the next couple of months. So because the market's so slow, we're anticipating it taking months to move. But so yesterday I reached out to actually Outrider John, Long Gun Wookie at
At
what is it?
onlyfans.com.
Onlyfans.com. Yeah. You can find him there. And I was like, hey, if you guys are going to the game store today, take me with you. You know, I'm just going to grab some models and just be building. They only play 30K these days. So, but yeah.
Not for much longer, but.
Yeah, turns out. But, we got to have a really, really nice day just sitting and, chatting with people. The Cantina event was going on.
So I came down for
games.
that.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we didn't coordinate on that I showed up at the game store.
Like,
and you
hey,
showed up like,
Dan's here.
And I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing here?
I had no idea what day of the month it even was. So I was like, oh, yeah, it was Star Wars Day anyways.
Yeah.
So, but I got to build my IGs and Din and the Grogu and actually got Gar Saxon put together finally. So all the characters, and I got to say, building out the IGs was probably one of the most fun. They're just spindly little stick robots, but
basically.
Just the way they have them posed with the arms, it just brings right to mind that scene in Mandalorian where it's just like spinning around and shooting like crazy. It's like they nailed it. It was so cool. I like the Din. I like the little billowing, capey kind of thing, gunslinging thing going on. And all the Grogus. I built all the Grogus, so they're all super
All three
cute.
Grogus?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We now have so many Grogus. Wouldn't that be funny if there was actually multiple Grogus the entire time and they just keep swapping out?
Are you parrot trapping Goku? What?
This is getting out of hand. But no, really, really great. But you actually got to sit down and play a game.
I got a game in, and it was a unmitigated disaster.
I kept checking in, and it did not go well.
No.
When's the last time you actually...
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brought the Iden Boba Din with Inferno Squad, 2 snipers and 3 stormtroopers.
You didn't have much fun. It sounds like.
My opponent was running a Kalani, 4 B1s, all of them with repair droids.
Wow.
And 2 B2s and 2 Magna Guards. So 9 activations. And I'm like, oh, droids and less activations. This should be not a problem, right? Well, by the end of round 2, spoiler alert, I conceded at the end of round 2.
Was that only round 2? You guys were out there for a while.
Iden had eaten 2 B2 HA shots to the face and died. Was it Mando had eaten a range from one Magna Guard and a melee from another and died. Bubba was tied up in melee. Inferno Squad was down to just Gideon with a wound on him.
Oh boy.
And so I basically had a officer, some snipers, and some naked stormtroopers to try and hold my 2 evaporators. And that's what I'm just like, yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, I've taken a couple B2s off the board, but that was about it. So.
That's a tough, crunchy list right there.
I mean, just all those repair, because I would kill a couple B2s, bring them back. Yep. Kill a couple droids, bring it back. I was trying to just bounty Kalani and then fall back to my evaporators to tie in points.
Oh, smart. Okay.
And he kept healing Kalani, so I had gotten him, get 4 wounds on him. He'd bring him back up to just 2 wounds. And then I get another few wounds on him, and he'd bring him back just to go.
Oh, man. How many repair points did he have in that list?
And of course, we were playing supply drop, and he had picked up an arc welder on top of that.
Because of course he did.
And he also picked up one of the 2. I picked up one of the Bactas. He picked up the other just purely to deny me. So, because he hadn't...
That's a very droid move,
yes.
I think. Yes.
And I'm like, well played, sir.
The flesh bags will want this.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't win this. So thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
I got to say, that actually sounds like a really cool list. But
yeah,
I'm sorry
there's
you got both barrels of it right there.
There's some jokes out there about having, I'll say like the battle force with 8 B1s and then 8 repair droids, and it's basically having an invincible list.
But it's even more so with the B2s because they got that armor 1s. They're just a little bit tougher. Mm-hmm. They don't have multiple wounds, do they?
Oh, 2 each. Yeah.
They do have 2 each. Damn, It's been a while since I played those guys. Yeah, shorter range.
Yeah,
but
so,
if they can close the gap, you're.
So once I died, I walked back over where you guys were, and John had brought a very cool game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Street Fighter's miniatures game was actually really fun.
Well, more of a board game,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
mean,
made with miniatures.
It's called the Street Fighter miniatures game.
Oh, is
but
it?
That's the
Oh.
actual title of it.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's played Imperial Assault style. It's a board with a grid, and
yeah.
you move around on it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Yeah, it was surprisingly fun. I know I'd been talking about that game for a little bit. That was my first time to sit down and play that, but I think they're out of business now. So
Yeah, so John was it was a Kickstarter. He bought it from someone who did the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
and then the company filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So it's actually really hard to get a hold of that game right
yeah,
now. So.
but if you guys happen to see it, it's worth a play. It's pretty fun.
So
Yeah, what
that's-
else?
No, you were building. We did. I played 2 rounds. Well, no, you were with me both rounds.
Yeah,
of that.
Areko was out there playing.
Yeah.
How did he do on his game?
I actually didn't, because I went over to go play Street Fighter when you guys were when you guys were done. So
yeah, mostly
but we had a great turnout actually. We had although some players were leaving and coming in at different times.
Right.
At a total, we had 8 total players.
Yeah,
playing,
that's good.
So
yeah, that's
it was a good
that's
turnout
probably
just
the best
for-
one we've had in a little while.
just for a little random weekend, just showing up.
Yeah.
It was good. So yeah, it was fun. We had to move a couple of card players who were trying to play in the board gaming area and taking up space. But,
Yeah, it's got to kick him out of there. They'll
Well, we
just
had-
spread everywhere.
we asked the store owner. He's like, hey, we're running low on space. Where do you want us to set up? And he saw the guys there. He's like, let me move them. So he was
Yeah.
kind of have to do that. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that little back area that's kind of segmented from the rest of the store, but I think
Yes.
it was like a Magic release weekend or something.
yeah, oh yeah,
too.
it was a Magic release weekend. So
Yeah,
it's
so it's busy.
pretty
Busy
crazy.
time.
Yeah.
They're mostly a Magic store, but
I mean,
Yeah.
every store has to be like.
pretty much.
I mean, you ran a store for a time. You know that
Yeah.
stores they can't businessly operate without the income that Magic
yeah,
brings.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Back when we first started, I would say at least a third of our income was off of like single sales at the time. I don't know how much that's changed because it's been a few years since then, but yeah. Even if you don't
That's why.
play Magic, you learn a lot about Magic.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if you have old Magic cards laying around from back when you
Send
did
them to
play,
me.
well, not only
Yeah.
that, but they're basically essentially currency in almost any game
Yeah,
store.
well,
so-
the right ones.
The right
There's
ones,
a
yeah.
lot of garbage out there.
Yeah, true.
I don't know how much time I was spending sorting through like and just pulling out random nice ones. But
Hey, I mean,
anyways,
that's how I funded Legion back in the day.
yeah.
I walked in, I threw some unlimited dual lands down on the counter, and your one employee at the time, because you were running the store at the time,
Oh, yeah.
was like, "Oh no, I can't touch this. You got to wait for Matt."
Yeah. Oh, we always take those lands. Hell yeah. Lands are always, yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
no, I
great.
got a few $100 off of that to basically fund Legion for a while. So.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
And now we got you.
Yes. So yeah, that it was a great weekend,
Yeah.
and
But yeah, most of my stuff is packed up now. I do have a couple more project boxes to work on. I've still got to finish the second Shadow Collective box. That's ready to go. I've got my swoops. Actually got to build those. I just look at the sprue and I die a little. So
in a good way or a bad way. I mean,
there's a
like,
lot of pieces.
There are a lot of pieces,
Yeah.
but they're very modular. Like the front end and the back end are essentially
That's true.
plug
There's
and
some
play,
swaps
so
in
you
there.
can swap
so.
them. Yeah.
I actually had the same feeling with the IG sprues. I was like, what is all these
Oh,
little
yeah.
lines? Had to go download the little thing. And it's like, oh, okay. They almost had like IG 12 in there
Yeah,
too. It was just missing some
that's-
feats.
A lot of people, including online, have been kind
Yeah.
of been like bemoaning the fact that there was enough pieces in there, with the exception of feet
Yeah.
and the head, the 2 smallest pieces,
Well, yeah, I
to
think it
build
was
a whole additional droid.
El Jefe that was posted up the picture of the.
No, that was me. The one.
Oh,
on
that was
lava.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I said I'd get around the feet problem, have one sinking in lava, just like
Yeah.
and here you
Hey,
go.
there it
You
is.
gotta-
Just
still,
like
still
you
got to
saw.
source ahead, but
Yeah.
otherwise it's
Spoilers, my God. But yeah, I got stuff to keep me busy. I've got most of my Rebel forces still at hand, so I can get some lists together now and start playing out. Again, things are calming down to get you guys some practice. Get in shape for...
LVO.
My God!
Yeah,
We haven't had the countdown today.
yeah, we did.
did we?
Well, not today.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
is it?
76 days.
76 days.
See, I try to slip it in a little
Yeah,
more subtly,
no.
but when you call me out on it, then it's,
I will. I'm going to shine the spotlight on it. Yeah, we're getting out of time. We need to start getting some reps in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure in a short amount of time here, we'll probably be coordinating with LJ and see what.
Yeah, I've started to get shipments of tables. We got the
Oh, we
first
did?
one.
Okay,
Yeah, I got
nice.
the first one. You said the next one's on the way. I'm going to try to keep them
Yeah, because you got to
in
keep
one
those
spot.
boxes separate from your
My
moving
other
boxes.
boxes. Yeah, that would
so
be
you don't
real
get to your new
bad.
house and open up the one, and you're like, is this kitchen? Oh, wait, it's a table.
Well, oh no, darn, let's look what happened.
And then when we get to LVO and open it up, and why is there pots and pans in this?
Make it work.
You go, okay. That would be an interesting table, just random.
See, what happened was the Separatists, they shrunk down Republic forces.
Hey, I have to admit, that was one of the most...
to the size of midichlorians.
One of the most unique tables, or at least different tables I've seen, was the one where it was a East Coast tournament. I'm blanking because it was a couple years ago, where somebody put like, blocks in the wooden trains and like kids' toys, and the mat was literally those foam mats that interlock with each other.
What?
And it looked amazing, and I'm like, that
Did
needs...
it?
Yeah.
Oh man. So it was all intentional.
Yeah, it was like
just
the little children's toys, like
That's
toy room.
interesting.
Yeah.
It was for Legion?
It was for Legion. Yeah.
Wow.
It was
I
probably
didn't
one of
see
the
that at
earlier
all.
It was one of the earlier Novas, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
I'm sure
sounds
I
about
will
right.
get corrected in the comments, but
Yeah,
yes.
hey, if you remember that table he's talking about, put it up on the Facebook for
Yeah.
us. I'd be curious to check that out because I had no idea.
Yeah. So
Okay, but so there was another big announcement that came out this last week, but we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back to talk about it. Hey guys, Matt here to tell you about our friends over at 6UP Supply. If you're like me and don't have access to your own 3D printers, 6UP Supply has you covered with a whole suite of printing services to bring those awesome files to life. The Outriders are proud to be partnered with 6UP, and you could find special themed terrain, gear, and tokens with a big discount for Patreon members in the Outrider Central section of the website. And that's not all. You can also get terrain bases, game supplies, tools, LED kits, and more. Stuff is being added all the time. So stop by the number 6upsupply.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER to save 10% on your next order, and let them help you up your game.
You are receiving the Legion Outriders podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. Matt and Dan back with you, and we've got a really hot ticket item.
Yeah.
New game announced by Asmodee. It's the 2-player deck building Star Wars game. We're going to talk about it again.
no, but there was not only a brew, but a ha-ha.
Oh, there was. There was very many brews and ha-has.
So AMG had a random surprise stream that just popped up at like 8 in the morning. Or no, it was like 8:30.
Yeah, it was pretty early, yeah.
And I was literally like, I had just pulled into my parking garage at work, and I was a little early, so I was just hanging out listening to podcasts, and I just got a notification on my phone. Atomic Mass Games is now streaming. I'm like, what the heck are they doing? So I pulled it up, and
It's a trick. Don't answer them.
Yes. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work for doing the bit here on a audio only thing. But their first 10 minutes was, or not even 10 minutes. First few minutes was completely muted. They didn't have their audio on.
I feel that in my soul.
Yeah, so I was
man.
gonna joke and say, hey, let's start the segment like with the audio up, but I'm like, no, that's not gonna
It's
work.
not Dan, perhaps the dumbest thing you've ever said.
Krabick did the bit, but it was on YouTube, so it worked for him.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, wow. It's going to be funny when people go back to see that stream from him and they're like, what's he doing? Lost all context by then, but anyways.
So what was announced? A new game joining the current catalog of games. Yes, completely new, completely separate. Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Yes, Star Wars Shatterpoint.
A name taken from a novel.
That was
a
a
Legends
novel,
novel, yes.
Yeah.
It was a Clone Wars novel about Mace Windu.
Oh,
It is actually available on Audible right now. But if you
okay.
but anyway, totally new game, not related to any other game. So that's what's kind of caused some of the brouhaha.
Yeah, and I get it. So, okay, we're assuming you've probably seen the announcement by now. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably hooked in enough. But it's basically going to be a skirmish miniature game. It looks like it's pretty much set in the Clone Wars era.
Right, so,
headlining it is Ahsoka and Asajj. Right.
Ahsoka and, well, I mean, there's a lot of characters they were showing there.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the box art.
The big
had
box
them on
art
there.
was Ahsoka and Maul going at it.
Oh, was it? Okay,
And then,
I thought it was
no, but
Asajj
I mean,
for
there's
some
lots of
reason.
smaller clips of tons of characters all
Okay,
over that
so
box.
yeah, we know Dooku's in there and some other stuff.
Right,
But
so-
what you were talking about is there. It looks like there's going to be a difference in scale, so it's going to be
Yes.
closer to the 40 millimeter MCP.
Yeah, so the
Scale.
it's somewhere between, because Legion is 32 millimeter, and yes, there have been people out on the internet, and thank you, heroes, for pixel counting the widths of the bases and the heights to try and figure this out. But general consensus is between 38 and 40 millimeter.
I think it was Jeff out there with some digital calipers doing it. But and that's, you would expect it's probably in there because obviously there's a lot of comparisons going to the Marvel Crisis Protocol, which was their
Which makes
flagship
sense.
game when they started up.
Right. So
And then they got all the Star Wars stuff, and now they have is this their first original Star Wars game then? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they inherited everything else. So.
exactly. So facts that we do know, at
Okay.
least what they've said. They said that this is a totally new game with its own mechanics and structure.
Okay.
Because people have been asking, was this just a reskin
Is
of
it a
MCP?
reskin of MC? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I
a
mean, it
fair
makes it- yeah,
question.
yeah.
It's not a bad game, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully it's a little different.
And it is not going to be cross-compatible with any other games. It's a completely unique game on there.
Yeah.
Where was it? They said that it's been in development about 2.5 to 3 years, which
Oh, okay.
would put it timeline-wise, because the Asmodee dumped Legion, X-Wing, and Armada on their laps.
Yeah.
I actually looked up the date, November 16th, 2020. So we were actually, as of recording, almost on the 2-year anniversary,
Yeah.
just a couple days off
So
of
the
that.
second they found out, they're like, cool, we're going to do something with this. And they're like, oh, and also do all these
The
other
other
games
things,
too.
right.
Yeah.
So, so there's been some people saying, well, now this is going to divert bandwidth and attention away from the other games, and they've already been developing this.
Turns out they've already been diverting
So
the
that bandwidth has already been
Yeah.
used. So that argument I don't think is quite as valid as some people are saying. Like they're not going to divert attention away from other games. Yes, publicly, yes, promotionally they will, because of course this is a new game they want to push.
Yeah.
So you'll see a
for
lot more media attention around it.
especially in
but-
the Legion community. I have
Right.
zero worries about that. We've still got a list of things coming down the pipeline.
Right.
New stuff being announced. So I mean, where's my Ewoks? Damn.
Well, that'll be out alongside these guys a little bit later next year. So, where's another thing? They said that they wanted to capture the feel of the 80s and 90s cartoons, high stakes adventure.
Hell yeah.
But I'm looking back. I'm like, wait, the last Star Wars cartoon was in '86. That was the droids and Ewoks. There was. Where is my Kybo Ren? Yes, that was
What?
a character from the droids cartoon, was named Kybo Ren. It was one of the villains.
Stop it.
Yes, it was.
You're messing with me.
No, I'm not messing.
Oh, my
Look on
goodness.
Wikipedia. It is-
Wow.
So yes, that shows you the creative lengths that Disney Lucasfilm went to. Anyway, I'm getting off tangent here.
So what I don't think they literally meant Star Wars
Wars,
80s and 90s. Like,
Yeah, 'cause the
that feel of those. that
Tartakovsky
era.
cartoon was 2003.
Yeah,
so there was
I would
that.
tack that in there. But I was thinking more like X-Men or Gargoyles or something like that.
Gargoyles.
Yeah.
God, that hits me right in the nostalgia right there.
DuckTales.
Oh,
I
well.
mean,
I did love DuckTales.
yeah, who did? Come on. Life is like a hurricane. That's what I took. Not literally Star Wars 80s and 90s, because, there wasn't a whole lot, and they weren't fantastic. That would be
Right.
a big ask for them to like, okay, we're recreating all the magic of droids. We're launching an entire
the
new
Ewoks
miniatures.
cartoon,
Yeah,
yes.
the Ewoks. Oh, God. I don't think I ever even saw an episode of that.
It's on. Oh no, the movies were the Ewok movies were on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We'll have to find a source for those
I wonder,
cartoons.
yeah. They might be on there. Who knows? Who cares?
But anyway, back on topic. Pre-orders start January.
Yeah.
So early next year.
Yeah,
They
that's
said-
why you were saying, oh, how did they already take the pre-order? I just, like I said, I put it on the list there.
Previews will begin at the same time, they said. So once they start pre-orders go up, they'll start doing previews. The first live demos will be at Adepticon in March. So anyone going to Adepticon, you're going to be moving in March, so you're not going to be able to get
my
it.
March is absolutely screwed.
We're going to have to find someone who's going to Adepticon so we can get that.
We're not going to Star Wars Celebration in April as a result of
Oh,
all
right.
this.
Yeah, because it's the same thing. Well, that and it's, in the UK.
And in the UK. Yeah, it's just extra
not like-
expenses
yeah.
right now.
Live demos in Adepticon, and the release date, everyone's been verbally saying summer 2023. The actual press release did say June 23. But of course,
That's summer, right?
that's summer, and, hedging their bets of
Little sliding scale.
little
yeah.
sliding scale of when things actually release. We all know that game by now.
Right.
Localization, the core sets will all be in one language, but all the expansions will have all the languages for every region in the box,
Like they're doing with the
OP kits.
yeah,
Yeah,
the kits.
so that's if you
Makes sense.
yeah. So I mean it helps their manufacturing a lot. So.
It's fun to try and pronounce the German words.
Oh yes. They're all completely unique models. Bases are very similar to the MCP style bases.
Tactical
In
rocks
fact, there's less tactical rocks than
that we've seen so far.
at least from what they've shown us. There are some tactical, jetpack plumes, and there is the biggest tactical rock is on Grievous.
But that's the guy you want to have on there.
Right, yeah.
Mr.
And
Scuttles.
So one funny thing I read online was Grievous has one giant rock, but many arms and many lightsabers. Obi-Wan has a bunch of little rocks, but only one lightsaber.
lightsaber. Wow.
It's like
Balance in the Force.
It's like poetry.
It's like. Dang it, Dan. Were you saving that up this entire time? Oh, I salute you, sir. I mean, we podcast just to entertain ourselves,
Yes,
apparently.
pretty
so
much,
thank
yeah.
you, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And if our listeners gets a little bit of entertainment out of this,
Yeah,
we've done our
that's
job.
okay.
So
Thank
it's
you.
all
Yeah.
But all the models that have been shown so far are entirely Clone Wars era,
Yes.
and it's kind of late Clone Wars, the season 7 aesthetic, because Ahsoka is that a season
Right.
7 appearance. The B2s are kind of the round chonky boy B2s.
Yeah. So speaking of those sculpts, and I think that's kind of why they went with a slightly larger scale, if indeed that proves to be the case, which it looks like it is just have a little bit more room to play with, a little bit more fine sculpting options in there. Because if it was going to be like a straight like kill team, people have been talking about where you take existing models from like Legion and then you play like a really small skirmish game, not like the 500 point, but like a dozen models or something like that. It would be nice, and I wonder how tough it would be to adapt. Like you could.
It really depends on how line of sight rules work. With...
all that stuff. I wonder if there's like a conversion chart. So if you had like a really sweet Ahsoka sculpt that you want to use.
Well, yeah, the one if you buy us from a modeler, I mean, you just scale it up slightly and then print it again, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, exactly, Dan. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the sculpts do look good. They look really good. A little bit more stylized, a little bit more. It looks like the Clone Wars cartoons a little bit more. Mm-hmm. We got a very pointy beard on El Dooku.
Yeah.
Which, yes, by the way, the Tales of the Jedi Dooku stories were fantastic.
Oh, phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are a couple models that had multiple miniatures on one base. So there was there were 3 B1s on one base.
Yep.
And the camera angle, you couldn't really tell if they were one base or two base, but the B2s potentially could have been 2 to a base.
Okay. And they do that in MCP with like shield agents and Hydra agents and things like that, I think. So
as someone who's never played and never looked into MCP, you said earlier about the modeling options. Do they give a lot of modeling variety in MCP currently? Because I'm assuming
from what I've seen, no. They're pretty much, you build them the way they show you.
So not even an extra different arm for a different angle? Or no.
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
John would be the better person to ask about that.
We kind of get him on the...
Yeah. Yeah,
John, I know you're listening. No, you're not.
No, I don't know that he's listening at all. He might be, but yeah, we'd love to have him back on again. But speaking of, we actually, I have reached out to AMG and Brian, the guy there that set us up with the interview with
Last time, yeah.
Yeah, last time, just saying, hey, could you have somebody you could spare come and talk about, Shatterpoint, where it fits into the ecosystem for all of the different Star Wars games. And obviously there's not too much information, but also maybe help douse some fires. But hopefully going to hear back soon on that.
Well, I have a feeling that since they mentioned the previews won't start till pre-orders are up, they probably won't reach out for a little bit.
But still, at least our names in the
hey,
for consideration. Just let them know that we were interested.
And speaking of putting names in for consideration, playtesting. They posted a link for applications for playtesting.
Yeah.
I know John did say he put in for that. And were you putting in for that?
It's all secret now.
Oh, it's all secret now.
I think you could say you applied.
Yeah,
you just once you get the NDAs. But I'm considering it. I think I will. I guess there's supposed to be a little bit of pay, they were saying, too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a paid position. At least that's what I saw on the Twitter. Somebody was asking, is this a paid position? They're like, we will discuss monetary. But yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so, it might be just
we will discuss
a token stipend or something like that.
Just to say,
still,
for some
that's good.
legal thing to say, oh, you took money for this.
Yes.
Therefore, if you do break NDA, we can be harsher with things like
Could
that.
be, yes. You've taken the blood money. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm considering it.
Or they could pay in product. I don't know. Who knows?
But Legion is, where the heart lies.
Yes.
So it's nice to have side games, but Legion is Bay. So,
right.
Can we say that still? Is that still a thing? I don't think it is, actually. Never mind. What else we got?
That was pretty much most of the things that they've said and that we could gather from the images, the video, the little trailer video, and everything they've showed us. Obviously, tons more information to be coming in the future.
You know what would be cool? Mm-hmm. You know what would be cool, Dan? If we're going to be wish listing a little bit, which we are right now, actually.
Yeah, and believe me, every social media platform is people just wish listing this game.
Yeah. So why should we be any different? Damn it. Is if they had like a pack that came out afterwards, but it's just like the same models, just scaled down to Legion and maybe some Legion rules in there.
Oh, you mean so? Yeah, because there were quite a few models shown of characters and units and whatnot that haven't landed in Legion yet.
That would be neat.
Be neat.
Yeah.
Yes, the clone commandos, Luminara, and
I need to go through and look through all those because I know I didn't catch everything on the first, flyby.
Mm-hmm.
But
they had Cody with clones holding DC-15s painted in the 212th, but then they had Rex with clones painted in the 501st, but they only had the carbines, not the full rifles.
DC-15Ss.
Yeah. So I wonder if there'll be a stat difference between. I'm curious how they're gonna do squad building and everything on there because.
The real trick will be if they do something like that, pull it off without having all the Empire and Rebel players just flip out. Speaking of Empire and Rebel players,
that's why I'm like, I'm not as enamored with this game, not because of that, but because I'm a Galactic Civil War guy.
Yeah,
I'm not as much in the. So the moment they announce an Iden character for this, I'm 100%.
You gotta think.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. If it's, Iden's perfect for that.
Yeah.
That should be like on the front cover if they do like a later edition, like they did with Clone Wars. It makes sense because there's so many more high-profile characters during the Clone Wars that they can pull from.
Oh yeah, that makes sense that they start there because they could really fill the roster of characters on more of an equal footing or more mirror images of each other.
Yeah, not to say like in a couple of years' time, you have the Mandos and the Boba Fetts and the Gar Saxons and the later GCW folks and the Lobots and all the top tier characters to really bring the flavor home.
So what you're saying is you're buying in with Dengar.
Oh God! Need things disintegrated, get me integrated. That's right.
There has been a lot of hubbub of people saying, this is going to be the Legion killer. It's not.
No, I can't imagine that in a million years.
It's eating all the bandwidth and
I could
attention.
imagine it, but I don't think that'll happen.
It's not. Like we said earlier, they've already been. This game has been in development, so they've already been working on it. they've been using their bandwidth towards this game.
Yeah.
They just couldn't speak about it because it wasn't announced yet.
Right.
So it's not that they're going to be working any less on the other games because of this. And they did mention that, I think actually I forgot to mention that they said after release, there'll be pretty much roughly every month releases.
Monthly releases.
Which,
wow.
honestly, that happened when Legion came out.
It sure did.
That happened when MCP came out.
Yep.
Like, every new game is going to have just a flood of stuff to flesh out the game.
You have to, or
get
else
it
you
to-
kill it, because that's kind of what happened to Armada when it first came out.
Yeah.
It had the first wave of stuff, and then it was unavailable and no new stuff going on. But, it's too bad. I definitely could see them wanting to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. So...
Destiny. I mean, it basically killed the card game for us. Remember that? Remember that,
When we
Dan?
couldn't
You
get
were there,
product,
me
yeah.
and you in the trenches, trying to roll dice.
Yes.
But there were no dice to be
I
had.
remember doing the circuit of all the game stores roughly on this half of Vegas that I live in too.
Yeah.
To say, hey, and like, oh, you have a 6 packs.
Yeah,
And I'll just
yeah.
pick up those 6 packs.
You got any of those? You got any of those Destiny packs, please?
Oh man.
Yeah. Bad times. Any other last minute? And
Like
don't
I
worry,
said-
we're not turning into a Shatterpoint podcast. This is just new and interesting, and it's adjacent to Legion.
Right.
so-
And yes, from a I'm one of those efficiency, looking at the business side of things kind of guys. Yes, it would have been more streamlined if they were cross compatible, because all the people that already have Legion models can just pick up.
Or they could
rolls.
sell you the same model twice.
Or they could sell you the same model. Or they would have to manufacture one model.
Yeah.
And it would be flexible for both, like GW does with Warhammer and Kill Team. So
I mean, they do have specific models that come out just for Kill Team, but then they usually have rules to put them into the main game and all that too.
right. So like I said, it would have been nice. I think it would have been transferring players, like the player community between the two would have been a lot smoother that way.
I think it can still act as a feeder game.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, I definitely can act as a
Yeah.
feeder game, because not everyone out there wants to paint up 6 squads of B1s
Yeah.
just to get into this game.
Or maybe it's a lot more approachable. Like, oh, I only have to worry about like a handful of models.
yeah, buy a core box and 1 or 2
Oh
more
God,
guys.
I love this game, but could you imagine if we could scale it up? Well, here's Legion, buddy. Yeah, get on in here.
Yeah, so like I said, I think that the games will complement each other.
If you hit me with another poetry thing, I'm gonna jump over
I
this
wasn't
table.
planning it, but that would have been perfect. Oh my God.
You started setting it up, and I was like, "Oh no, you're not getting me twice."
Oh God. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I think it will help bring more people that are interested into Star Wars miniatures that didn't want to do the full investment of Legion, because Legion is not a light game. Obviously, it's.
You can play it at the different levels, and there's escalation leagues and all that. But
Right.
at its core, it's an 800-point full 6x3 army experience.
Right.
And sometimes you don't have to. I really hope that these are going to be shorter games.
I mean, how long is an average MCP game? I'm not. into that.
I didn't play it enough to actually get good enough to be able to have it take less than 2 hours. But
So we're gonna need an MCP perspective. So we're gonna have to get John on, or one of the other.
then
community
again,
players,
maybe
and,
we're barking up the wrong bush there
Sure.
because
because like I said, this is a unique game with
is.
separate mechanics. That is a common question asked. Is this just a reskin of MCP? And AMG has had some follow-up posts on their social media saying, no, this is the quote, totally new game with its own mechanics and structure, unquote. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be parallels. I'm sure there'll be similar.
I mean, there's a
themes
lot
and-
of similarities between MCP and Legion. There's at its core, it's you get X amount of activations, you do the thing, they're done activating, you did your actions, and it's done. Yeah.
Models are model stats are in cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're not reinventing the wheel, but it'll have definitely its own spin and flavor to it. At least I would hope. You know.
I'm just hoping
we have no more information than anybody else other than what
we would like that information. So AMG, if you'd like to come,
if you would like to come on the podcast and share with us nothing new, because I know they're going to have it under wraps for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, everybody get out there and get absolutely conspiracy theory wish listing. And
If I don't see at least a dozen push pins with string tie between them, on a corkboard.
And 15 million RIP Legion or associated Star Wars games. It's going to happen. It's just what it is.
This game is going to kill Destiny. Oh, wait.
Destiny done killed itself. Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, I think we'll be checking it out, obviously, when it comes out. But we still got like half a year to get there. So, is it June? Oh, no, 9 months to go? Yeah. So they're starting the baby now. So. Yeah. Anyways, more on that as it develops, and of course, all your hot Legion news. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you have any news, questions, or feedback, Shatterpoint or Legion, whatever, you can email us at legionoutriders@gmail.com. Stop by our Facebook page where Dan is posting memes right now. Facebook.com/Legion Outriders.
Let me bring it up here.
You thought I didn't see you. Or you can find us out in the world. Dan, where can people find you?
As either Outrider Dan or Dan Tech on the Discord, and also hanging out in your Twitch streams.
Thank you. Yes, which you can find me at twitch.tv/captain_archer or on the Discord under the same, or as Outrider Matt. But thank you again, everybody, and we'll catch you next time for episode 146, because that's how sequential numbers work.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.